Hello and welcome to this video. On this video I'm going to react to my conversation I had with Dr McGILCHRIST, which in my time scale here on this side of the camera was a few days ago, and you will be seeing this I think a few days after the premiere of the interview. It has impressed me greatly, but also thrown a lot of the conclusions that I've come to on Philosophy Sundays here. It's thrown them into at least a state where I have to have a re-examination of what we have discussed here. So let me tell you my thinking behind this video. I thought I'll sit down. I'm in this clean whitish space, you know, platonic space. I'm not in my studio. I can do things with that space if I wanted to, using the trickery of film. Film's a conceit. It's one of the things I've realised being a YouTuber. There's a conceit here. And I've tried to show that conceit at the beginning of this video by magically producing sounds out of my fingers and little digital effects and all that type of stuff, which I find very entertaining, that I can do that. You know, it's very easy to do. And it has a sort of aesthetic effect on us, doesn't it, when we see that? Oh, Andy's like a magician. What's he doing? He's up to something spiritual and weird. It's Philosophy Sunday. What's he up to? Now, the reason I had a little smile to myself is because when I went like that and you heard the siren go past, that wasn't a sound effect. That was real. That really happened. That was real. The other stuff wasn't real. And that was real. The stuff at the beginning is fake, and I've got control over it. I have chosen what sort of sounds will go with that. You know, I have chosen what sort of video effects to get an aesthetic effect. But I probably wouldn't have chosen to have the siren of an ambulance as I went like this. That's come from outside. That's a gift. That's something was given to me by something else. And some of you will think, well, no, it's not. It's a lucky coincidence. Andy, that's all it is a lucky coincidence. Just happened to happen. I have learned on these YouTube videos to utilize these happenings that just happen to happen, because they happen to happen all the time. And I'm reminded of a story of Aleister Crowley, who said that magic was basically observation. It was being very sensitive to the now, and being very sensitive of the moment you're in, and then learning from it, being able to study it and be aware of it and see the patterns that exist there. In other words, a little bit like rolling with the punches. There's a famous story about Krishnamurti where he was having a conversation, and in the middle of this conversation he stopped them and he said, "None of you noticed the petal falling from the flower in the corner of the room in the vase? A petal has just fallen off." And that was a moment, and he let that in. As you could hear, there's something going on because now we've had another one go past the house. So real life's going on outside. I am trying to make this video, but real life's going on. I'm in the moment, and I'm also in this space which has a past and a future. Okay? And we negotiate that continually. We are continually in the moment, and we are also continually negotiating the future based upon our past. Now, I've often wondered whether this had some sort of reflection in the way that we perceive the world. Is there a basic way that human beings perceive the world? So imagine there are other ways of perceiving the world. You could imagine that our senses and our consciousness and the way our minds work are seeing the world in one way, but the world could be seen in another way. In other words, time and space, material objects, all these sorts of things that scientists discuss Basically, I think it's called qualia philosophically, but that comes from our reaching out into the world. And human beings, the way we work in this world is we almost reach out in terms of time and space, quality and quantity. There are two ways that we reach into the world which reflect how we are. It reflects who we are. Now, what I found fascinating with Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST is the fact that he has studied the structure of the brain, especially the structure of the hemispheres of the brain, which are usually described in sort of cultural terms. This is the thing that's we've received from it, in an almost aesthetic way, an almost artistic way, which has the sort of devil and the angel on the shoulder, the chaos and the order. It's like there's a conversation going on in your head. Now, this is such a huge artistic theme that you could almost say that it is the theme of art, or that art is a negotiation of that theme, because it is so embodied in all the cultural forms that exist. Absolutely in every shape or form. I've noticed this, and I am interested in how that structure works. And so what I find fascinating is that my reaching out into the world, right, through this YouTube channel, has brought certain people to me. Now, if you'd have told me that IAIN McGILCHRIST would be talking to me about this, I would have gone, well, there's no way. He's massively famous. He talks to people like Jordan Peterson and things like that. He doesn't talk to little YouTubers like me, but he did. And the conversation in itself, the fact that it exists, is interesting to me. The fact that I come from a non-academic sort of rock and roll, artsy-fartsy, whatever you want to call it, background, and yet when we start to talk, I have to explain this other stuff that's going on there. This is what I wanted to do on here, because it might not be apparent watching the interview. If you do want to watch the interview, it's probably best to stop this now and watch the interview. The link's down below, so you can go and watch the interview. As he was talking, I was getting so excited. I was having sort of like adrenaline, or I was having this like excited rush. And I was also having the feeling that I couldn't carry on in the conversation really, because what he had told me, and it was one simple thing that I got, probably because he was talking to me. And that's a luxury that I had, because I could ask a question in a way where he could pick up what I was wanting and he could give it to me in a simple way. And he did. I will never understand the brain like Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST, but the fact is that what is the point of it? What is the point of him understanding if he can't talk to someone like me, a drummer, a musician, a YouTuber, an ex-painter, whatever you want to call me? What is the point if he can't say something that reaches me? So there's a relationship between me and him. There's a dialectic going on there as well. And you start to see the fundamental being of consciousness, if that makes sense. You start to see that this thing is there all the time, and we know it, and we refer to it. It's how we negotiate ourselves in the world. And it's so fundamental, it's very hard to put it into words. And towards the end of the interview, we start to move on to another area, and we had to stop. And I really want to try and move into this area now. And I am very aware that with my YouTube channel, sometimes I'm putting messages out into the world, which is what this video is about. This one is me putting messages out into the world. And I want this video to be as aesthetic as it is about sort of the academic discussion, philosophical discussion of consciousness and the world and what it means and all that bit. So I'm going to try and make it like a film in a way. I'm sat here and I basically deliberately put a blank canvas up behind so that there is a blank canvas there, and anything could happen in this video. I don't know, you know, it could be that I need to transmit myself into space. I need to exist out there in the realms. Perhaps that's something that I need to do before we start, is to leave this abode and go out into those spaces between galaxies. I need to explore the intergalactic, don't I? And then return. That's what we need to do. I need to bring in the aesthetic. I need to bring in the sense of wonder. I need to break this up so it's not just like another conversation of another person talking about an academic discussion. I have to make this into art. I need to go into space. Space is the place.
the name of the kink in rock. Super educated, I'm smarter than Spock. You ever tell me you will agree? Ain't no brother like the KID.
Dr. Gilchrist's explanation to me, which refined my viewpoint of how the brain works in terms of the hemispheres, was to explain that we have a left brain which is controlling our right side, we have a right brain which is controlling our left side. Normally the left brain is described as being the orderly one. That's the one that is all rational and logical, and then the right brain is the sort of, you know, artistic and creative one. Okay, so it's as though you've got in your head, in the established model, the sort of one that culture has sort of adopted, we have Mulder and Scully in there. We have Ronald Weasley and Hermione. We have Dr. Spock, and we have Bones. In Star Trek, it's quite interesting. The same thing is used in Harry Potter. It's a sort of a really interesting way, is you don't just have a hero. You have the hero, and the hero is sort of unknowing, but they're brave. And that's their virtue, is that they're brave. And they're the ones that, because they're brave and they don't know, they forge forward. But they've got these two accomplices. And one accomplice is all reason and logic, and that's Spock. And then the other one, it's really interesting, Star Trek, because it's actually the sciencey one, Bones. You know, Bones, who's the medic. He's all emotion. He's all, oh, you know, you tell me you Spock, and they sort of battle it out. And you'll see that negotiation. That negotiation is in so many different art forms. This is the negotiation that we're talking about, okay? Now, what Dr. IAIN McGILCHRIST said, and it's a shocking thing if you take it on board, because it really, it readjusts that view, but actually sees it, the dynamic, as being completely different, which I have found since he's told it me, has been making things make sense. And I want this video to get across the idea that a scientist can say something to someone like me, and they can say it in a way that reaches me, and then I can start to think different things, and then I can respond with a video like this, which is not an academic scientific piece of work. This is like a creative thing. This is me having fun with the genre of YouTube talking videos. I'm doing all sorts of things, as you might be well aware. You know, I mean, I could do something like this. Or, if you wanted, I could do something like this. Do these things mean anything? Of course, as I say this to you, as I'm sat here saying this and this, I know I'm going to put things in, but I don't know what they are. So you know what they are, but I don't know what they are. And so the reaction you're having to this, I have no control over. I have complete control over this and no control at the same time. And in a way, that my ability to accept that and actually roll with those punches is a skill I've learned through doing the YouTube videos. This is something that I bring to it, that I would like to offer to the likes of Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST, for them to see it and go, yeah, what does this mean? These things that are coming in from outside, either Andy in the future is bringing things in, or the environment, even this blank canvas is providing the siren. And when Andy did that and he went like this, what does a siren mean? At the point he was being peaceful, maybe he's praying, or maybe he's just getting a moment of focus. At that point we hear, you know, the sound of emergency. We hear the sound of rushing to something that's going on. Is there something going on at the moment in my life or your life or in the cultural life of all of us? Is the fact that me doing that and what that represented, I had no control over it, and the universe actually came in and put a meaning in there that was so subtle. Is the universe telling us something? Can it tell us something? Can we ask the universe something and can it reply? For me, that's a fundamental question of humanity. That's the fundamental question. So what's Dr. McGILCHRIST's view? We as human beings have created ways of measuring things. A ruler is a good example of it. It's rigid, right? And the reason it's rigid is because you don't want those little marks on there that tell you the inches and the centimeters. You don't want those to move. They've got to be rigid. The ruler's important. It's very important, but it's rigid. It's a rigid set of rules. It's like a grid that we've inflicted onto the world to make it make sense. And these things are very big. They can be incredibly complex. They could be incredibly mathematical equations, you know, the laws of thermodynamics, the maths that underlies, you know, the theory of relativity, the knowledge of the chemical structures of the brain and the structural, you know, layout of the brain that enables someone like Dr. IAIN McGILCHRIST to be able to study and work out what is going on, right? The ruler for our experience of consciousness is the left brain, and it's incredibly complex, but it's rigid, okay? And that's, in terms of our being, can be seen in what I would describe as the exoteric. The exoteric is the fixed normality that we understand, the thing that it's almost like a surface understanding of it. It can be a surface understanding of something very, very complex, but it's a surface understanding, and because it's surface, it is rigid. The exoteric, in terms of religion, would be the customs, the ideas, the rules by which you live. You don't question them, you know. To question them is to be a heretic, and heretics have to be shut up. And so, rather than being the orderly, logical Spock, because Spock isn't just orderly and logical, because Spock has a moral component, and what he does is he has a respect for truth. But according to Dr. McGILCHRIST, the left brain doesn't have so much of a respect for truth. It is dogmatic in its view of the world. Now, the best way I can think of explaining this in my artsy-fartsy rock and roll way would be to refer to the film Spinal Tap. There's a very, very funny scene in this, and we have to ask ourselves why it's funny. And this is the scene. Hopefully I won't get done for copyright.
Do you play all, do you actually play all these, or?
Well, I play them and I cherish them. This is a top to, what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see,
Yeah.
the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11,
Oh, I see.
11,
And most of
11,
the
and then
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up,
Yeah.
all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is, if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
So if you saw that scene, that's because YouTube allowed it through. If you didn't see that scene, they didn't. And it was the scene that just got cut out. If it was cut out. See, I don't know the shape of these arts. You see, that's the thing I want to get across to you. That's the bit I'm throwing in. Is an artist doesn't truly understand what they're doing. Just park that there. And that's cropping up in the very nature of this video as a sort of esoteric aspect of it. It's like a little voice in the corner going, hee, look at this, look at that, as I try and logically explain these things to you. And that thing that's going on, that's actually stopped me get to the points I'm aware of, and I keep referring to it because that may be what the right brain is doing. Who knows? Let's travel forward. So in that scene from Spinal Tap, Nigel Tufnell is showing the director, Marty DeBerge, his guitar collection, his amplifier collection. And when he gets to his amplifier, he said that he's got these amps that are specially made and they go up to 11. And he says, so they're louder. And then Marty DeBerge turns around and says, why don't you just make 1110 and just have that amp as louder? And he turns around and says, yeah, but this is one more. And Marty DeBerge looks at him, well, that doesn't matter because the ruler is not rigid. And he turns around and goes, yeah, but these go up to 11. What's humorous is the fact that Nigel Tufnell cannot understand this because he's dogmatic in his understanding of measurement, whereas Marty DeBerge is able to go, now that measurement is fluid. It's the aesthetics of loudness, the aesthetics of the guitar. We could call that whatever we want. We could call it 10, 120. We could call it end cut. We could call it whatever we want. Surely we can do whatever we want. And that's the heretical voice. And it's heretical to Nigel Tufnell. And so I often like to look at the arts to show you that exchange could well be an embodiment of how these two, that Nigel Tufnell is the left brain and Marty DeBerge is the right brain. And I'm hoping, me as a sort of artsy-fartsy musician, rock and roll guy, that I could offer that metaphor. Now, of course it's not, it's a story. But maybe it does transmit something that's more accurate in terms of who we are. Maybe we have a Nigel Tufnell and a Marty DeBerge inside us, right? And the humour, why do we laugh? We laugh because we see two opposing things coming together, don't we? We laugh at the foolishness of Nigel Tufnell for not being able to see it. The laugh is almost like a quality control mechanism, which is going, Nigel Tufnell's, that's not enough to think like that, Nigel. You can't think like that. That's silly. It's silly. And Nigel goes, it's not silly. It's important because this is what it says. It goes up to 10, but mine goes up to 10. No, you don't understand. And we laugh. We laugh at it. We bare our teeth at it and laugh. It's almost like we want to expel it away from us. We want to move to a realm. By laughing, we want to move to the realm of nuance, of the ability to question the grid, right? To see the quality that's within the grid rather than just thinking the grid is the absolute. And I spoke to Dr McGILCHRIST about categories as well, because I felt that this is a very important thing, is that the thing that is it's not a ruler, it's categories. We have categories, and that's how we have to understand this. And so as we have categories, the categories, right, you have the individual thing and then you have the category. When if you were to move to having no ruler, no measurements, if you could imagine a world like that, where that ceases to be, and so there's no edges of anything, a little bit like where I've placed myself now in this white space. There's no edges, there's no miles, there's no forward, there's no backwards, there's no past, there's no future. Right? You would see the world as I assume perhaps a baby sees it when they first open their eyes, and they can't differentiate between the window and the wall, because to them there's no window and no wall. They're going to have to reach out with their consciousness and see the idea of the window and the wall, and then they are going to learn the category of window and wall, and then they're going to go through their life going, that's another window, isn't it? And so when somebody says to them when they're older, the eyes are the windows of the soul, they have to go, well, either left brain thinking would be, well, they're not, are they? Because windows are things in houses, you have glasses so you can see outside. Eyes aren't like that because your head's not a house. But the right brain goes, well, your head is sort of like a house because you live in it, don't you? And inside is you, and your windows to the outside world are eyes. You see out in the eyes are the windows of the soul. There's a soul inside us, and it's and the conjunction visually is like the window, you know. And it's like, so you could then take that metaphor and you could think of drawing the blinds, you know, or you could think of, you know, opening up the window and escaping, being able to escape. You know, I was always impressed when I became aware of the story of Anne Frank, you know, that at one point she's looking out the window at the birds and they are able to fly away and she's not. These things are powerful things because they stay with us, and we measure the world in terms of quality based upon these things. This is why art's so important. Towards the end of the video, we started to talk about the importance of art. We started to talk about education and how education has moved too much over to the left way of thinking. It's too dogmatic. And we very slightly started to move towards God, the idea of God. And this is something that I've changed my opinion on. I started this YouTube as an atheist. I was an atheist, or I would have classed myself as an atheist, and I don't now. Now I would say I believe in God. I think there is a God. But it's not that I believe in God. I can't see how anybody can say they don't believe in God. I think even atheists, their claim to an ordered material universe is a claim to order. And if you make a claim of order, of which there is abundance of an order in the universe, it's like an abundance of it, then you are making a claim that there's a God. That's a certain, if you are an atheist, that's a certain jump you have to make. It could be a false jump. I can't see how it can be false or not false. This is how I've changed. And so I got to a point where I thought, well, it's not about whether there's a God or there isn't a God. It's about whether this universe is all random or whether I am in sort of the film of Andy Edwards, and if that film has meaning. And actually the best course forward is to be aware of that and to try and go with the flow. And with that idea, I started to let things in my real life, to stop fighting. And there is another metaphor I'm going to throw at you now. We live in a situation where we at once want to be in the moment, and at the same time we want to make sure things go all right for us. Because the moment we're in could be impending doom. It could be the tentacles of chaos enveloping us. The moment isn't always safe. There may be a danger to us, and we want to be around. We want to make sure our family's okay. We want to make sure we've got food. We don't want that to happen. That ability of human beings to see the order that exists in the universe and adapt to that order, to go with the flow of that, has been able for us to then manipulate our situation from a moral point of view, where we're in a better situation. we're in a better situation. I've got a bed, I've got warmth, I've got food downstairs, I've got time to think, I've got time to play, I can say what I want, no one's going to beat me up, I'm in a, if I get ill, I go to the doctors. This is an incredible thing that we're in at the moment, this is an incredible thing. That's been negotiated by human beings. That order is it's like at once a revelation of what is out there, but also an understanding of what is in here, and being able to see the link between the two. And so I have been trying to align myself with the way things are, and not in an airy-fairy new age way, but actually in what I would call an aesthetic way, which means that rather than just going, oh, it's all wonderful, and be like a hippie and just having your incest and your drony music contains no information, right? So we exist in this universe and things aren't right, and that's why we have to have all these rules and regulations. That's why we have to be sensible and things like that, and can't just be in the moment all the time. I'm so glad Dr McGilchrist said this is one of the most important things that came out of that. He approached it a little bit tentatively, thinking that I might be the sort of person that went, oh no, I think you can just let it all hang out, but no, we were in total agreement that is not the best place to be, and that a respect for truth and all that type of thing is really, really important. So we live in a world where the water is choppy, and we sit and see the choppiness of the water, and I think there is a tendency for us to try and make the water not be choppy by trying to grab the surface of the water and pat it down. We try and pat it down. Oh, it's choppy over there. And that flailing away at the way things are just makes the water even more choppy. And sometimes you have to sit still and let the things settle. And so I have an idea of art as being, I have an intention of what I want to do, but when I set out to do it, there is another thing coming from without. There is within and without. And I have learnt to listen to those things, and not just listen to them, but try and interpret them. Okay? Someone who is sensitive or good at understanding, I don't know how to describe this, may see that when I did that, the fact that there was a siren going past had a meaning, and then finding out in the story of this video that I didn't mean it to happen, it just happened, points to the very thing that I have set out to try and get across in this video, which is incredibly hard for me to get across. You can do this with art. People call it about happy accidents and things like that. It's not happy accidents, it's nothing like that. It's far more profound than that. This is far more profound. To be able to almost see yourself as a story, see yourself as a work of art, and being able to stop and go, what's the message that's coming through? Now, when we do this and we pray, we are hoping that the universe out there is listening, and we're hoping that the universe can do something about it. But the universe is just a material thing. I mean, we can't affect it. God's not listening to me, is he? God can't be listening to me. Can he? He can't be listening to what I'm doing. Then go, I'll change the whole bloody cosmos because you want a parking space. Oh, come on, God, please. I need a parking space in Tesco's today, please. I've got to park up. I've got badly. I don't want to be when it's raining. Oh my God, you gave me a parking space. I can't believe it. Oh, thank you, God. What a fool. He thinks that God's sat there making sure Andy's got a parking space. I don't think that's what's actually going on. I think when you do that, you ask a question and the question's answered. It's just whether you're listening. And whatever it is that's going on there, whatever it is that's happening there, I've seen my job, and this is the esoteric aspect of my videos. I'm really trying to have that happen here on this. I think my job is to show on my videos that it happens so much, and in it happening I reach out into the universe, and I'm able to bring people like Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST to me. I'm able to bring people like Narada Michael, my favourite musician, and have him advise me on spiritual matters, which he has done. Incredible. I can't believe these things have happened. I want to show that within the art of this, within the YouTubing, the discussion of art here and music, that this isn't just about top tens, that there is something going on here which exposes this and shows it to be far more common than you think. And maybe that will make somebody think, well, maybe I'm going to listen to what my life's saying. I'm going to see what's going on. Is there a message for me somewhere? There can't be a message. You know, when you say there can't be a message, it's like you look at your life, you wake up in the morning and you're saying there's no meaning to this. It's all random. There's no message. And yet these are the materialists who go, but the world's a material world, and it is ordered, and it is so ordered that we can predict everything all over the universe. That is the basic dogmatic faith that I have in my faith in science, is that if I discover here something in my laboratory, that it is still happening on the moon, it will still happen at the surface of the sun based upon the environment that we're in. That the laws and order of the universe spreads out throughout the whole universe, top to bottom, and it never changes. And that's why there's no ghosts, because ghosts aren't rational. There's no God. There's no answers there. And that itself is a contradiction. If you believe that things are ordered in the way that you say it, and you're experiencing this experience, then your experience is ordered. So what is the order? And the fact that we're in the middle and are able to do that is very interesting to me. The fact that I can interpret things, not from a rational scientific point, but I can interpret things from an aesthetic point of view, and I can train that and I can refine it. And by talking to Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST, I can refine it even more. I can take what he's said and apply that to the world and saying, this is the way the world sort of works for me. These things are there. I have that dogmatic sort of rule following fool in my head that I need. I need someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, Andy, you've forgotten your car keys. Oh yeah, sorry. You know, I need that. I need that. But I also need to be able to play, to have fun. I've often felt that the one way to deal with the black tentacles of chaos enveloping you and the sort of terror of the situation, the thing that creates all the existential angst in the world and all that type of things that us artists have, that is to be able to challenge the fear of death. We need a fear of dying. We would be terrible without a fear of dying. We would basically be dead. The fear of dying is the thing that now allows us to, you know, make the right decisions, I suppose, to be in this world and have all the experiences we're talking about. You know, without a fear of death, my curiosity of what death is would mean I would be compelled to throw myself off a building now to find it out. The fear of death is essential, but for beings of two brain beings on this planet, it's can torture people. Fear. I was thinking the other day about all this, and I thought something really strange. I thought, if I was facing death, the only way I could deal with it would be to see it as my final artistic expression. I thought, if I found out I was dying tomorrow, I could either switch my YouTube off and never come back on again and just sit there and die, or I could explore it for other people. I could try and communicate it to other people through my YouTube. And I thought that is what I would do. And I thought if I was doing that, there would be some excitement to it. There would be some meaning. Creating art creates meaning. And it would create so much meaning that it would see me through that process. If I was frightened and terrified, if I was at the point of dying, but can I turn that into a piece of art? Wow, that would be a powerful piece of art. And then I'll be compelled to do it. And being compelled to do it would mean I would embrace it. I would embrace the fear. This is the power of art. This is the power of creativity. This is the power of being a creative being. Being a creative being and refining that and valuing that and understanding that that's the basic machine of the right brain, creativity, right? We need as a culture to understand that better. And we need the likes of Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST to join up with the artists and the painters and the poets, and we need the quantum physicists and we need the biologists. We need everybody. We need a coming together. We need all these things that we have categorized so far as being separate to come back together, and we need to start discussing that. And that's why I was so happy to be now have the conversation I did with Dr IAIN McGILCHRIST and be able to bring that to it, and then to create something like this to follow up from it. So I think I've got to the end of the video. I think I've made the points I wanted to make for today. It's an ongoing thing. That's one of the beauties of YouTube. It's not an academic paper that we sign off and it's done and that's my big statement. It's not like that. This is an ongoing thing. It's that dialogue with the world. It's a dialogue with the world, and that's what you're seeing, and that's what I'm involved in, and that's what you see. And sometimes it can just be lots of jokes and humour, but please remember those jokes. When you're laughing at something, there is always a profound truth in there. As we have learned from Nigel Tufnell and Martin de Bergey's, embodied metaphorical illustration of perhaps the way our being actually works. Who knows? Or maybe I'm just talking a lot of rubbish. Thanks for watching. If you did like this, please put a like on it. If you want to see some more, subscribe. I have a Patreon that you can become a member of. I also have the memberships here where you can get to see all my videos early, and also you get to see special content when I can get around to doing it, which is not always the case, but I always try my best. There's always a couple of videos every week. You can also put some money in the PayPal tip jar, and that is it. I am at the end of this one. Thank you for watching, and peace and love to you all. And now I want you to take a big deep breath, find that quiet space, let the water still, and see if you could hear that little voice. What are they saying to you today?
As comfortable as you were, if words weren't making sense as slur, then what you might have seen might be reality if your vision's constantly blurred. Well, come and play.